All right, so welcome back to, I guess we'll call this the interview sessions from DCI. So we are here with Anthony Ranaudo out of Cards and Culture from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, right?
Yes.
So, okay, cool. So
the trip to Las Vegas.
Yeah, a special trip out here to the Mint Collective. So what do you think of the Mint Collective so far?
Dude, we were just talking about it earlier. This has been a great event. It's beautifully done. We're at the MGM Grand here. I think this is awesome. It's super clean. It just feels like just a really upscale event. So I've been enjoying my time, and there's a lot of stuff to do in Las Vegas. That's fun.
Yes, there is. That is for sure. You can get in a lot of trouble quick.
Yes, I know. I stayed good last night though. I'm good so far. So
okay,
so far,
well,
so good.
It's Saturday night. It's day 2 for the Mint. It's technically the last evening going into it, so Anthony might get in a little more trouble tonight.
Yes.
So obviously, it's Saturday. What has been maybe a favorite thing? Is there something that you've seen out here on the show floor that is your favorite thing so far?
I'm trying to think. Nothing crazy that's my favorite. I just honestly have just, like I told you what we were talking about, like just casually this morning, just walking around, interacting with people. It feels a little different. It feels a little bit more open. Maybe it's because it's been my 3rd, 4th, 5th time now coming to a big event like this. But it feels like just interacting with people, making deals feels a little bit more natural to me and stuff.
Sure.
So I think that experience has been a lot more positive than my last couple shows.
Are you starting to get recognition where people are starting to know you yet, or no?
No, not really, actually.
Okay.
And I really like that, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think too, in the beginning, like last year when I went to the National, I was a little like nervous that people were going to know who I was in the industry,
Sure.
And I was like, not in the sense of like they knew me from baseball, but just like, oh, former baseball player trying this stuff. Like, so I didn't know what to expect, but no, a lot of people don't recognize me, and I like that. It's really cool. Yeah.
That's a good thing. So, what I'd love to go to. So you have a really cool shop. I follow you on Instagram. We'll talk about all that kind of stuff at the end. But really, can you give us I want to know your origin story. Obviously, we can even dig into your baseball roots just a little bit. Being a former player and then moving into this space. But I want to know kind of that, and then I want you to know or talk about how you transitioned into Cards and Culture and what that looks like for you.
Yeah, I love it. I think like most baseball players, right? When I was done playing ball, I was like kind of torn. I didn't know what to do. Kind of wanted to stay in the game. I was doing some lessons, training, that kind of stuff. And then people were asking me a lot of questions about the game, about experiences, stuff like that. So I started a podcast, and that kind of got me back into the sports world a little bit, things like that. And then my dad dropped my sports cards off in 2017, 18. And in that podcast world, I crossed with Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's talking a lot about collectibles and that kind of stuff. So dipped into that world and just understood it a little bit, because when I was playing ball, I was big into sneakers and flipping, that kind of stuff. I didn't keep my collection going when I was playing ball because it was just a little weird collecting teammates and things like that,
Sure.
But then 2017, 18, I got back into the hobby. Actually, the Bullpen LA guys were the first people that I did some breaks with. I actually went out to their shop in 2018. I forget what I was doing out there. I was doing some work or visiting somebody or something, and ripped a bunch of boxes with those guys. And that kind of just got me back into it, understanding the hobby. And then in COVID, when COVID hit, I was buying a lot of art. I was doing stuff with sneakers, obviously was big into the sports cards. And I was like, man, let's put all this stuff together. And I commissioned an artist to do 3 iconic paintings of 3 famous cards. So it was the Jordan Fleer, the 86 Fleer, the LeBron 03 Chrome, or 03 Chrome Refractor. And then I'm trying to think the other one. It was the 33 Gaudi Babe Ruth or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. Dude, I commissioned them and put them online, and we sold them in seconds.
Wow.
Or like literally the day that we posted them, they sold, and I was like, that's pretty cool. It would be cool to have a spot where you could have an artist do right? And that's kind of where the idea, I think, formulated. And then it was just like one thing led to another. COVID presented an opportunity to find a really great space where we're in the prime location of like the biggest foot traffic area in Baton Rouge. We don't have a lot of outdoor shopping stuff, but I got a great location. So that was kind of like the origin story of what but opened up the possibilities for me to have a brick and mortar location and want to dip into this space.
Sure. So Cards and Culture itself in Baton Rouge, you guys do art, right? Yep. So you sports related art. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, and I say we're a collectible shop, right?
Okay.
So it's like a little bit
All
of
kinds of
everything. But it's sports cards, memorabilia are like the main focus. But then we do have art, right, for collectors, and there's it's I would say pop art, and that kind of includes like sports culture and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But then sneakers, and then even like Funko Pop dolls, like stuff like that, right? Yeah. Vinyl figures. I'm really big into I love creators and artists, so I like finding artists that are doing innovative stuff, and I like vinyl art. It's really cool to me, and so I've just really dipped into that world a lot too, and we have a lot of that stuff around the shop.
Very cool. So I know that you yourself have gotten into some painting of your own, right? Am I right on that? I see you on
Yeah.
Instagram doing some of your own work too. Now, does that stuff become for sale or no?
That's my plan, I think. Is
Okay.
like, yeah, it's one of those things that I feel a little weird about because I never when I was a kid, I loved drawing. I actually remember when Kobe Bryant did this, like it was a reverse dunk in like 96 or 97. He was the cover of Sports Illustrated. I actually like drew that out and like handed it in for a project. And I thought at that time, I remember being like, man, art is cool. I remember like liking doing that stuff, but I never pursued it, right? And it was never my thing. And now as I'm opening the shop and I'm like meeting all these artists and I'm like, dude, you should put your art in here. You should do this. And I'm like, am I talking to myself? Because I just, at night when I go decompress, I just sketch. Like that's my meditation. I like doing that stuff. I sketch about a bunch of BS stuff, just random things, but I like the art of it. It just separates me. And I was like, this would be a cool thing to do one day where if Cards and Culture goes well, it would just be a cool thing to have in the shop, just a little bit of my own stuff. So
For sure.
dabble in it, but I'm not an artist by any means. So
Gotcha. Well, everyone's an artist in their own right, so
That's
don't
true.
worry about that. So
That's
don't knock
true.
yourself on that one.
That's true.
So one of the things that is hugely important to you is LSU, right?
Yeah.
You're highly tied into the school, into the college. I see the NIL athletes with you all the time, stuff like that too. So tell us about that connection. Where are you looking to go with that?
Yeah. I was a kid from New Jersey that came down to Louisiana. So LSU was a big part of my life for that reason, right? I came down there to play baseball and I spent 3 years there on scholarship. We won a national championship. LSU just means the world to me. And just for them to take a New Jersey kid in and just like, that's the biggest thing that I love about the South was I'm from New Jersey and we don't do that kind of stuff.
Sure.
I didn't do that. I wasn't used to that growing up. I didn't have people cook for me, open up their house and let me, do all these things. So to me, the community is a huge part of it. LSU baseball has a crazy fan base that's amazing. So for me, just to give back to the university that gave me what I look at as an incredible opportunity in this world, right, is something that's really meaningful to me and my business. And then I think it's really cool to interact with the athletes now and the things that I've learned being not too far removed from their shoes, but
Sure.
enough removed from their shoes to have a little bit of experience. So it's kind of cool to talk to 20-year-olds and not educate them, but just literally relive my experiences and give them insight into the things that I've experienced. So it's been cool for me, and it feels purposeful, every single day.
And they're in a different spot now, right? Obviously, some of those rules changed. They're able
Yep.
to get paid on their likeness and autographs and all those things now, right? So
Yeah.
that's very different than when you were there.
Very different. And now they're looking to me to write all the checks too.
Yeah.
So they're
Got
like, oh,
it.
you want to do a podcast? And they're like, how much is that? I'm like, no. This
Right.
one's free, But
Yeah.
but it's cool. I think that's the good part is these athletes, like for a long time have been generating a lot of revenue for their schools and themselves and their families and things like that. So it is important for me and something that I'm proud about with Cards and Culture that we're paying guys and we're finding ways to get them to monetize their name, image, and likeness. And like I said, teach them things along the way through my experience and stuff. So if I can do that, that's something really fun for me.
Very cool. What is your opinion of card grading just in general? Where do you stand on that?
Open, open minds. To me, I just like authenticity, honestly. If I trust the people, if there is a track record, if there's a portfolio, to me, that's value. That's to me what it creates value to a card. In today's world of digital art and recreation and technology and stuff, it's real easy to make fakes of identical cards that are very popular. And I've just heard so many scamming stories and stuff like that. So to me, card grading is of tremendous value.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And what would you say that you think the card grading companies are doing well? Is there something that they're really excelling at?
That's a great question. I would say I think they're doing a great job of expanding the market just by being present, listening to people, trying their best because there's a huge demand, right? And
Sure.
there's so many things going on within the grading industry that are changing with technology. I think they're doing a good job of including the hobby. So I think, or the consumers of the hobby, right? So I think people give feedback and they're at least open to listening. I think that some of their procedures and things can, be better and stuff, but I think that's all subjective to me, right? But overall, I think that the involvement of when you come to these events of their presence, right? You see PSA, you see Becky, you see SGC, you see DCI, you see all these big name companies and these people having a presence there. And that to me is, I think, the most important, right? Creating authenticity, brand, and just, I guess authenticity too.
Sure, that makes sense. And then is there one area that you'd feel like they're really struggling, whether it's like marketing or branding or pushing? What could they be doing better right now?
Yeah, and I think it's what honestly attracted me to you guys is I think you guys are really modern. I think you guys are new age. I think And I think that, which is ironic, right? Because you talk to some traditional hobbyists, and that's what they like. It's like, oh, it's simple. It's just this, and this. But to me, I think innovation is key. And I think that, yes, this hobby has been around for a long time, but it's also hopefully going to be around for a long time in the future, right? And that there's an influx of all new people coming in, right? So we need to be able to adapt and adjust and be a little bit more modern. So those are the only hiccups that I see, is there's a little bit of like stiffness in that sense. Like certain companies just feel a little older and just, more traditional, which I guess is not a bad thing to a lot of people.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the next 2 to 5 years in the hobby, what does that look like for you, both from your shop as well as the hobby in general?
To me, it's so up in the air with Fanatics, right? Like I think the license, all these different things are going to play. I think just the innovation in the space, the technology. I think the grading technology that we're going to see with AI and things like that will be really cool. I'm excited to see what different companies and brands develop through collectibles and in general, right? Because I think social media has made things a lot more accessible, but also cool, right? Like traditionally, like we can flex different things now and they have value and like show people them. So I think that's going to be cool just to see how that innovates and how as humans, right? Like I think we express ourselves a lot on like what we buy and what we show people and what we're proud of. So I think that'll be really cool to just see how that develops over the next couple of years.
Sure. So I know that building on that, I know that you're big in the NFT space. You really enjoy that space. So how do you think, or what do you think of the transition between sports cards and NFTs? What's that going to look like?
I have my own, but so for me, this is just, I think these are awesome, these interviews, because it would be fun to look back in 5 years and be like, wow, I was way wrong, or like, damn, that was cool. Like it came to fruition. Something that I think NFT technology is here to stay. I don't think necessarily the art and the PFPs and the things that are crazy popular now are necessarily going to be the way that we use it in the future. But I like it from an authenticity standpoint. I think that there's going to be digital certificates that correspond with physical items and things like that. And that's where I think I see the most in sports cards is being able to have a digital representation of a physical item and not always have to have that physical item in your hand, right? So if you could have a vault and then show a digital representation of that NFT that represents the same value, if not more, and then being able to exchange that without having to exchange the physical item. I don't know. That's my biggest thing. And then I think also ticketing to events where those tickets then become memorabilia pieces, right? The same way that you see around here, PSA has graded stubs and things like that. I think NFTs to like big events like this will have some sort of value 10, 20, 50 years from now, something like that.
Very cool. All right. So obviously to wrap this up, we appreciate you coming on here. Yeah. So give them your handles. What do you got out there?
Absolutely. So I'm Anthony Ranaudo, is just ANTHONY_RANAUDO on all my socials, and then Cards and Cultures in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and that's cardsandculture.com, and it's Cards and Culture on all our social media. Make it easy.
Former Boston Red Sox, former Texas Rangers, right?
Yep.
LSU national champion. We appreciate you coming out.
No, thank you very much. Appreciate it, Derek. Yeah.